Years after the final world tournament, our heroes have all moved on into their own different lives. They still communicate often, Goku makes sure of that, but instead of constantly training for another world tournament, they train for the future. Goku has convinced her grandpa Gohan to move into the city with her, and she's been able to support him financially with her new car dealership that she calls the Sun Family Repairs. Since she's a master mechanic, she builds all of her own cars and sells them off for the people in the city, which gets her loads of cash that she uses to support her grandfather. Raditz always stops by every now and then to spar with his sister and visit Gohan, and he makes sure to bring his new girlfriend, Launch, along as well. The two have grown closer over the years, and Launch always had a crush on Raditz anyway, though never said anything due to him being with Bulma. And for some reason, Launch had been really pushing for the two to get together, so they finally became an item. Raditz doesn't really have a job, but he doesn't need one since Launch's bodyguard business has popped off, so she's able to support the two of them. Hercule has even joined into the bodyguard business as well, following in Piccolo's footsteps, so it's always nice for her to work with friends. Hercule really needed to get a job, since him and Miguel have settled down and welcomed their daughter, Videl, into the world. With Miguel not able to get many shows while she was pregnant, Hercule needed to be the breadwinner, so he's been working alongside Launch and Piccolo, supporting the young Videl. Khalifla has grown a little older and acts like a big sister to Videl, since she sees her a lot, which makes Bulma and the Hercules happy. There is another young one who visits Khalifla and Videl too, the son of Chi-Chi and Yamcha, Kanbu. Once Chi-Chi discovered that Kakarot of all people was able to settle down, she really wanted a kid of her own. Her and Yamcha grew pretty close together, and they settled down and had a kid. Yamcha is able to support her as a baseball player, while Chi-Chi was able to get in with Guinea and work as a chef alongside her. Thankfully, in this timeline, Chi-Chi isn't as study-oriented, so Kanbu isn't forced to study 24/7 and is able to go with Khalifla and Videl. The three have been able to train together at Tien's newest dojo, where they grow pretty strong together since Tien is a great teacher. Khalifla is a handful since she is still her father's daughter and can get pretty rowdy. Thankfully, Tien is able to keep her in check, but some of her outbursts do concern him a bit. He goes to Bulma and lets her know about this, and while he doesn't blame her, he does put a bit of the blame on Kakarot since he's not exactly the greatest influence on her. Bulma tells Tien that while he isn't always around, he does still have a deep love for his daughter, and would do anything for her. She's sure that while the outbursts definitely come from his Saiyan nature, he doesn't force it out of her or anything. Tien trusts what Bulma is saying, but tells her to make sure to look into it. Bulma does bring this up to Kakarot when she commutes to his hut in the woods, with Kakarot saying that's just how Saiyans are, he guesses. He never had a real childhood, so he's not really sure to handle not letting out a little steam, since he was a mercenary in his childhood. But if the kid ever needs to let off some steam, she can smack him around, since he knows it won't hurt him any. Bulma smacks him across the head, saying beating on her father isn't the way to work with this, and she needs some real help. As the two are arguing, a bright light shines down from above them, with Kakarot instantly jumping in front of Bulma and Khalifla to protect them. A spaceship? What's a spaceship doing here? And how did he not sense its presence? The spaceship lands near the three, with two beings stepping out who are not human. The aliens introduce themselves as Rack and Pinion of the Mediani Galactic. They have been tasked with coming to Earth to retrieve the being known as Kakarot. Kakarot is shocked. How do these aliens know about him? Could these guys be working for that Frieza guy that Trunks told them about? Kakarot erupts into a Super Saiyan to intimidate the two, asking them who they are. Rack sighs, saying that he's going to be one of those guys who doesn't listen. Rack pulls out his stun gun and fires it right at Kakarot. Kakarot dodges out of the way, but the beam curves back around and hits Kakarot in the back, shocking him and reverting him back to normal. Kakarot collapses unconscious, with Bulma and Khalifla yelling out. Rack shoots the two of them too, with the two collapsing alongside Kakarot. Rack and Pinion pick up Kakarot and Bulma, with Pinion asking if they should take the girl along as well. But Rack says that's taking it too far, since nobody wants to see a little girl be beaten down in the ring, so they'll just leave her. The two lug Kakarot and Bulma into their ship, and then blast off into space. Khalifla is passed out on the ground, with her being picked up by another life form. Ginger lugs Khalifla over his arm, with him sighing. He doesn't want to take a little girl, as he was after Bulma, but she just got abducted by aliens? He doesn't get paid enough for this. But hey, maybe Bulma's daughter knows what happened to the Dragon Balls for Garlic Jr. Trunks and Ranch could sense the massive power of Kakarot's Super Saiyan transformation, and how fast it disappeared. What was that? They don't think that anything should be happening on Earth to put anybody else in danger, but this timeline is full of surprises, so they should probably go check it out. Trunks and Ranch burst off and immediately arrive where they sensed Kakarot, and instead of him, they just find one man, standing there with his back turned to them. Trunks asks him who he is and what happened to Kakarot, with the old man saying he's not sure. They're not sure of anything anymore. Ranch asks him what he means by that, with the old man turning around and shocking the two of them. This old man looks exactly like Trunks. The two stutter, struggling to say something, as the old man raises his hand to tell them it's okay. He's exactly who they think he is, just let him explain. As he goes to speak, the Supreme Kai of Time smacks him upside the head. The old man grabs his head in pain as Cronoa yells at him for revealing himself. The old man retaliates, saying that they need their help now after what just happened to Kakarot and Bulma. The mention of Bulma snaps Trunks out of his shock, and he asks the two, what the hell is going on here already? The old man and Cronoa stop arguing and apologize to the two. Cronoa gives the old man permission to tell them, and that's exactly what he does. The old man says that this woman here is the Supreme Kai of Time, and he is a member of her Time Patrol unit, a unit who monitors the timeline to make sure that there isn't anybody messing with its history. However, something catastrophic has happened to the timeline to mess it up horribly. There have been alterations to the timeline before that the Time Patrol is corrected. Alterations such as Raditz turning good when he first came to Earth, Frieza turning good after Namek, Gine making the trip to Earth with Goku, Vegito staying fused, but all of them happened in just one timeline. But it seems that all of these what-if scenarios have merged into one timeline, and the Time Patrol has been in a struggle to find out what caused things to change so much. They can't even examine the future of this timeline themselves, as the time scroll for this universe is corrupted, meaning they can only monitor time as it flows currently. Cronoa apologizes to the two as she reveals that she's the reason they're still in this timeline. Once they appeared in this timeline, she was confused on where they came from, since she couldn't find their timeline, and as she monitored their interactions with the Z-Fighters of this universe, they seemed as shocked by all of the changes as they were, so she figured that the two of them could help her out, by having them stay in this era to monitor the timeline, so she used her powers to make their time machine malfunction. When they went to leave to go back to their timeline, she intended for the machine to never travel in time at all, but they had already begun moving through time, so she was only able to make them move 3 years ahead, instead of the 20 or so years that they wanted. With these two in this timeline, they can help out the people of this era, and maybe even find out what happened to cause this story shift in the first place. This information was a lot for Trunks and Ranch to take in, and they have to sit on what exactly they've just heard. Ranch speaks up eventually, saying that she's mad that they cut them off from their timeline, but understands what she's saying. She wouldn't have believed her if this old version of Trunks wasn't here. They meant to travel back in time to save their future, and that's still what they're gonna do. Except now it's a bit more complicated. Old Trunks laughs, thanking her for agreeing to stay here and help. Trunks tells his future self that they'll agree to stay for a little longer, but they do want to return to their timeline eventually. Cronoa tells them that once they figure out what exactly happened to this timeline, then they'll return them to where they started. Though, they are curious on where exactly they came from. They just happen to appear in this timeline, and it's very much not their own, so they want to hear about what happened in their future. Trunks and Ranch don't know how the Time Patrol doesn't know about their timeline, but they decide to elaborate anyways and reveal their history. Everything that the two tell them so far seems to have matched the original chain of events that is supposed to happen, until, in their timeline, when Raditz arrived on Earth to recruit Goku into joining up with the Saiyans, Goku was the only one who was killed. But, eventually the guilt of his brother's passing got to Raditz, and he joined up with the Z-Fighters against the remaining Saiyans, and became a very good ally of theirs. This is until Goku eventually passed away again due to the heart virus, and after his death, Dr. Gero sent out his androids, 17 and 18, to kill the rest of the Z-Fighters, and they succeeded in killing almost everybody. The only main Z-Fighters to survive were Raditz and Gohan, with them discovering that before Piccolo died, he spit out an egg, which contained his son, Bonchuri, inside. Raditz and his wife Launch were eventually killed by the androids, leaving Gohan to now watch after their daughter Ranch. Gohan now had to train Trunks, Ranch, and do his best to raise Bonchuri. Eventually, Gohan was killed by the androids, causing Trunks and Ranch to achieve Super Saiyan for the first time. However, once Bonchuri found Gohan, he somehow was able to use his powers to bring him back to life. With Gohan back, they realized they might have a chance against the androids now, and they were able to discover the hyperbolic time chamber, where they trained inside and became powerful enough to stop the androids. They had thought they managed to give hope to the future once again, though shortly after, the being known as Cell appeared and kidnapped Bonchuri and forced him to use his powers to resurrect the two androids. Cell immediately absorbed the two and unleashed his perfect form, defeating all of them with ease, and saying that they have 10 days to get stronger and participate in the Cell games. And if they don't provide a worthy enough challenge, then he'll kill them all. To try and give them a chance, Bulma revealed her time machine to the others, and said that if they use this, they may be able to go back in time to save Goku, and bring him here so that way he can help them face off against Cell. Gohan volunteered to go with Bonchuri, but Trunks said that it's risky, since they're not sure how the time machine works yet. If he goes and never comes back, then they still have Gohan around to protect them, so he's going to be the one to go. Trunks went to leave, but Ranch snuck into the machine with him since she wanted to go to the past to see her parents again. The two disappeared into the past, and they know the rest. Old Man Trunks and Kranoa are still shocked by this story. Old Man Trunks says that their own timeline is a mixed bag as well, since most of what he described isn't how the future normally goes at all. Something is happening to the timelines, and they really need to get to the bottom of this. Speaking of something bad happening, a huge deviation has just occurred in this area, with Bulma and Kakarot being taken off-world by some sort of organization that's not a part of any timeline they've seen. They're gonna try to investigate some more, but they'll do their best to get the two out of there. Trunks knows that if this guy really is a variant of himself, then nothing bad will happen to his mother. The two Trunkses shake hands, and Old Man Trunks and Kranoa vanish. Kakarot wakes up in an odd-looking room. He looks around with Bulma saying, "Oh look, they're finally awake." He immediately stands up and rushes towards the first person he sees to demand what is going on, as he is electrocuted. Kakarot falls to the ground in pain as he feels that he now has a shock collar on his neck. The person Kakarot saw wasn't a typical person he's seen, but some kind of bird lady. The bird lady introduces herself as Mota, and she's here to train them up for the arena. Bulma asks her what she's talking about, as Mota tells her that they're now part of the Mediani Galactic Arena, and will now be great warriors for the ruler of this world, Lord Drolik. The Mediani Galactic scout planets to find the strongest on them, and in Earth's case, it was Kakarot, who showed off a great power to defeat the Demon King Piccolo. They also took his wife, because she has some good skill as well. The two are relieved that they didn't take Khalifla as well, but are still really pissed about them being kidnapped. Bulma yells at them saying that they're not going to be slaves fighting in a galactic gladiator arena, but Mota says that they have no choice but to be. She lifts her leg to reveal her shock chain wrapped around her, and that they're all slaves to Drolik, and there isn't anybody powerful enough to stop him. So, they're all forced to do his bidding. Kakarot tells her that if it's just some guy they need taken care of, he can handle it. He's a legendary Super Saiyan after all. As far as he knows, nobody, besides Trunks, can take him. Mota smiles, saying she wishes that were so, but for now, they're needed in the ring. Kakarot, Bulma, Mota, Rak, and Pinion are brought out to the gladiatorial arena, with hundreds of spectators cheering, ready to watch a fight. Kakarot laughs to Bulma, saying this reminds him of the World Tournament, but with a lot more strange-looking people. Many warriors flood the ring, with Kakarot powering up and rushing all of them. Bulma taps on her chest with her nanite armor surrounding her, giving her her Iron Woman armor. She flies around as well, fighting all of the aliens that get in her way. Mota is insanely impressed with how powerful these two really are, sweeping the competition like this. Maybe Kakarot was right after all, that he could defeat Drolik. As Kakarot is battling, one opponent catches his punch, which catches him off guard. Jocha immediately screams out in happiness, which catches him off guard even more. She yells out his name and gives him a huge hug. Bulma sees this woman giving him a hug, and in a jealous fit, rushes over and slams the back of her head. Jocha slams into the ground, but instantly gets back up and kicks Bulma right in the chest. Bulma goes flying back, but launches herself right back over. The two trade blows, with Jocha telling her to get off, she's trying to have a moment here. Bulma says that she's not having any moments with her husband, thank you very much. Husband? Kakarot got married? She never thought she'd have a sister-in-law. This makes Bulma stop attacking. Sister-in-law? No way, is this woman Kakarot's sister? Kakarot, who was listening the whole time, is shocked. His other sister? Wait, Gine told him about this. Is her name Jocha? Jocha squeals in happiness at him knowing her name, and gives him another big hug. She says that she's happy he's alive, and asks how he got here. Kakarot and Bulma quickly explain that they were kidnapped, and Jocha reveals that she was too. She'll explain after, but first we need to overthrow this guy and get out of here. Kakarot smiles, and the three of them look up to the man and his bodyguard watching the show. Mota comes over and says that they can't try it. Drolik is very powerful, but his henchman, Arch, is even more powerful. Kakarot tells Mota not to worry, as he won't be anything. Kakarot asks Bulma if it's ready yet, as Bulma says it is now, and she presses a button on her armor, which makes all of the shock collars detach from every warrior in the ring. Drolik screams out, asking how the hell that happened, with Bulma smiling, saying he made a big mistake letting her keep the armor, as she was able to hack into his systems and get rid of all the shock collars. The other fighters in the arena all scream out in happiness that they're free, and rush out to beat up the guards or simply to go take spaceships and escape the planet. With this huge riot happening now, Drolik yells out for his bodyguard to stop them, with Arch rushing in front of Bulma faster than any of them can see, as Arch nails her right in the chest, chipping off some of her armor. Bulma goes flying back as Kakarot screams out and goes to punch him, with Arch dodging and nailing him in the chest too. Kakarot staggers back as Mota pecks into Arch's chest, with Jocha twisting to land a kick to his head. Arch blocks both of these hits and slams the two into each other, throwing them aside. Rack and Pinion swoop behind Arch and attach two of the shock collars to his arms, activating them again to shock him. However, since Arch himself used to be a slave, he's used to these shocks, and powers through it, with Arch blasting the two away and killing them instantly. Kakarot sees his two disintegrated and screams out that that's enough. He bursts into his Super Saiyan form, shaking the entire Colosseum. The chaos around them all stops, as the warriors are stunned by this power. Kakarot launches a Hell's Flash right at Arch, with him trying to catch it, but the attack is way too powerful. The blast engulfs Arch as it flies right up to Drolik himself, with him screaming as he is engulfed in the attack as well. The beam flies off into space, exploding and killing the two. The warriors of the arena all cheer out for Kakarot and Bulma, their saviors, as Kakarot powers down and tries to back away from everybody cheering and trying to lift him up. Jocha says that she's amazed, as she never thought that he would become a Super Saiyan as well. As well? Can she become one too? Jocha says that she can't, but their father can. Their father is still alive? Jocha says that she'll let them know as soon as they get out of here. Mota thanks the group for saving all of them from their enslavements, and that now she's going to run this place to make it a more formal fighting tournament and not an evil gladiatorial arena. They all say their goodbyes as they take a ship to get back to Earth. Khalifla has woken up and has harassed the Spice Boys from where her parents are for hours. She hasn't seemed scared at all, and has just been running around laughing and getting on their nerves. Eventually, Garlic Jr. came out and told her he's looking for her parents too. But does she know anything about the Dragon Balls? Khalifla says that all she knows about them is that her daddy blew them up before she was born. Garlic Jr. screams out, "Blew them up? The Dragon Balls are no more?" Khalifla smiles and lets out a yep, running around bothering the minions some more. Garlic Jr.'s rage builds. He finally managed to escape the dead zone Kami sealed him in all those years ago, and now he can't even use the Dragon Balls to wish for immortality? This is unacceptable. Garlic Jr. powers up, shaking the ground all around them as he transforms. He marches over to Khalifla and says that her dad's going to regret what she did by destroying his key to immortality. He'll start by killing his daughter. Khalifla screams as Garlic Jr. punches her across the face, sending her crashing into the wall. Garlic Jr. stomps over to her, ready to land another hit, with Khalifla screaming out at him to leave her alone. The scream launches Garlic Jr. back, with him stunned to being pushed back by just a yell from a little girl. Khalifla rises up, with a giant energy surrounding her. She says that she thought his friends were nice, but he's just a big meanie. Her eyes go white as she explodes in power. A green aura surrounds the girl as her hair rises up and turns green. Garlic Jr. and his men scream out as Khalifla explodes in energy, surrounding the whole castle around them in ki, instantly killing Garlic Jr. and all of his henchmen. Everything around her is destroyed, with Khalifla's hair turning back to normal, with her collapsing to the ground unconscious. Kakarot, Bulma, and Jocha land at the exact spot of Khalifla's outburst after sensing a gigantic energy, with Kakarot picking up his daughter and looking around at the wasteland around them. Did she do this? How did she even get here? Questions for later. They need to get to the city quickly. The group head into the city, where Jocha is reintroduced to her family. She walks into Guine's butcher shop, with Guine dropping all of the plates and rushing over to hug her long-lost daughter, saying she never thought that she would see her again. Raditz and Goku are invited over as well, with Goku meeting her sister for the first time, and Raditz apologizing to her for all the bickering that they did as kids. Guine has never been happy in her life, seeing all of her kids together in the same room after all these years. Jocha, after crying herself, says that while she would like nothing more than to just keep on catching up for hours, she's here to deliver a very important message. She was actually supposed to be here days ago, but she was kidnapped by the Medianis on a rest planet. But now that she's here, she can warn them. Prince Vegeta and his squad are coming to Earth, and they're going to take them and bring them all to Lord Frieza. Guine and Raditz are horribly shocked. Frieza knows where they are? Jocha sadly nods, saying she's afraid so. He's not coming here himself, but somebody far worse is coming. There is a member of Vegeta's squad that she saw for herself, and his power is the most evil power she's ever felt. He is the true legendary Super Saiyan, and he will kill them all. The legendary Super Saiyan? Kakarot says that him and Raditz already have that. Jocha says that so did Bardock, and his power was nothing compared to this Saiyan. He was taken out in only a couple of blows. They stand no chance, and she needs to get them off of this planet now while they still have time. Off of the planet? There's no way they can all just up and leave. They have friends here, families here now. They can't just leave them all to die. Jocha says that's the only way they're going to survive. This Saiyan, this Broly, he will kill them all. Kakarot tells her no. Guine, Raditz, and Goku are shocked. Kakarot of all people is saying no? They thought he hated this planet. Kakarot tells his sister that while he doesn't care for the planet at all, this is his home. He has a wife, who is an Earthling, and a child who is half Earthling. Plus, his whole family of friends, jobs, lives here. He won't let that be taken away from them. Guine tears up at Kakarot's speech, as he tells her that it doesn't matter how legendary this Saiyan is. They're not going anywhere. They're going to fight and protect the Earth. And that's the end of part 1 of this series. Thank you, patrons, so much for checking this one out. So if you guys don't know, this part is not going to be mainly available on YouTube, since it's going to be a Patreon exclusive, and this whole part and the rest of it is just going to be combined into like the big story series that you guys voted for in the YouTube poll. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all you patrons. Thank you very, 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 very much for all of your amazing support. You guys are fantastic, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. So, catch you later, guys.